it. Where you they go? We go where the money they. Then we repeat it. Anyhow, anyway. It's a money intro. Yeah. Yes, guys. Welcome back to the third episode of TRİBE Tips. Let's give ourselves a round of applause because we 3 episodes in. I'm so proud. I'm so proud. I'm so proud. And I'm so glad that some of you guys, well, a lot of you guys feel like you've learned a lot from this. And hopefully we can continue to do this. Like I said, always drop your comments, suggestions, and questions in the comment section or DM TRİBE. Anything you want to do, any questions you want to ask. I did put out like, what's it called? I did put out a question on my stories last week about questions that people had. And a lot of people were asking about, you know, branding, how to make yourself look like, you know, like an expert in your field or like branded. So yes, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to touch on Brandon. Yes. But before we do that, guys, if you haven't listened to J Hus's album, this is not a sponsored thing. No. But if you haven't listened to J Hus's album, definitely go listen to it. My favorite song on it is Repeat with J Hus featuring Coffee. My favorite line is, I mean, I move, but my diamonds dancing. Anyway, TRİBE Tips weekly series where I come exchange whatever information I have about dance, IP laws, you know, dancers' rates, etc., etc. Anything a dancer needs to know in order to create a long-lasting career. We're going to talk about it. We're going to exchange. We're going to start a conversation and we're going to help one another so that multiple of us are at the table. You feel me? So let's get started. Today's question is, can an Afro dancer be a brand? And my answer is yes. Yes, an Afro dancer can be a brand. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that answered your question. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and share. Anyway, yes. So yes, an Afro dancer can be a brand. I'm going to basically use my own personal experience, but I'm also going to back it up with some articles that I'm going to link below in the description box. I always do that. So guys, please actually read these articles because like I'm actually spending time, like I already graduated. I shouldn't be doing research and assignments, but I'm actually spending time to actually find these articles that I think are easy to understand and explain concepts. So please like actually read it and actually share this content, please. And, you know, subscribe and comment and ask me more compelling questions. You feel me? Yeah, okay. So about 2-3 years, I would say like before I started my first class tour, the eggplant tour, I'd asked my friend, and he's more into like the fashion side of things. And I asked my friend to, you know, look at my page and tell me what he saw. And he's like, okay. So he scrolling through, he's like, oh, I see someone who loves dance. She's very colorful, very vibrant. But I feel like you need to brand yourself. And I was like, brand myself? Like, what the hell does that mean? What steps do I need to take? What do you mean brand myself? Like people keep saying brand myself, but nobody's telling me how to brand myself. What does that mean? Is it a stamp I gotta get? Like, what is it? You know? So he was telling me, he was like, yo, like, okay, I know you like in person. You're a fashionable person. You need to show more of that. You also have a sexy side. Show more of that. Okay, you have the tomboyish side. You're already showing that, but like show different sides of yourself. If it's like, for me, I love to talk and I love to talk about, you know, the industry. Show that part of yourself. It's like, show who you are and develop how you show it. Basically, that's what I think branding is. It's like taking your strengths, your skills, your experience, your expertise, packaging it and putting it out in a certain way to a certain target audience that makes sense or like that are consumers of your product. Does that make sense? I'll explain. So basically I did some research. I just wanted to find like, you know, clear cut like steps you can take, and also to define what branding was, because at the end of the day they didn't tell me what branding was, right? So according to SBN Online, right, like I said, I'm gonna link this article in the description box below. What does it mean to brand yourself? According to sbnonline.com, branding yourself means to develop a unique professional identity and coherent message that sets you apart from others, either in your company or in your industry. I'm going to read that again. Branding yourself means to develop a unique professional identity and coherent message that sets you apart from others, either in your company or in your industry. So, basically, branding yourself doesn't have to do with like talent or anything. Listen. So obviously you're part of this company. You've reached this level where it's like, okay, we already know you can dance. We already know like you're a talented person. But what sets you apart from the next person? So it's like if I come up to, you know, for example, if I come up to an audition and I have 5 beautiful, amazingly talented people in front of me, what is it about you? And I say, okay, come tell me what it is about you that makes you special. What is it about you that makes you stand out? Some people can go from their hair. Maybe your hair is like a low cut and you're blonde. Be like, oh, I like that look. Some people have like the red fro. Oh, I like that look. Some people, you know, have like the long braids that touch their butt. Me, I like that look. You feel what I'm saying? So what makes you stand out? Now, branding isn't just a superficial thing or a surface thing. It can go out to like literally the quality of content, like how you put out your content, the quality of your choreography. Like, for example, my biggest asset is my choreography. You feel what I'm saying? Because I am blessed to be put in a position where people tend to connect with my pieces. So it's like that has now become a demand. It's like, yo, Izzy, we love your choreography. We love your style. We love your creative direction. I want to pay you to create for this, that. I want to pay you to come perform here. I want to pay you to that. Some people even just rock with me just because of my personality, because I've been able to package it and put it out there, right? I've been able to package my choreography and put it out there. People love me for my fashion sense. People love me for my hairstyles. Like, even to the point that, you know, people started trying the whole like center part pull back with the Marley ponytail because I was doing it, and I packaged it and I put it out there. So like people can rock with you for different things. There are people who may see this may be their first time seeing me. They may have not seen my dance videos. They might have not seen anything. They might just become fans of me because of this outlet of me talking, of just me talking about the dance industry or exchanging information. And that could be how I can gain a new follower. So it's like packaging it and putting it out there in a certain way is part of your brand. Cool? So it says a unique professional identity. Our profession is dance. So your identity has to revolve around dance. You feel me? And a coherent message. A coherent message basically can also mean that obviously everything you put out kind of has to make sense, like around the identity you've created. I can't say I'm a dancer now and then tomorrow morning I'll stop posting videos about taxes, or stop posting myself at like TurboTax, like filling out taxes, or, you know, start posting. So it's like, even as a dancer, you can post about like the music you're dancing to, because that's connected with dance. You can post about the fashion, the clothes you like to wear, because it's like you need clothes in order to dance. Like, I think that's like, or lack of clothes, whichever you want to do is fine. You know, you can talk about, you know, speakers. Like, you can even go and start reviewing speakers, reviewing like, you know, music, reviewing like videographers and stuff like that. Like, because all of this is connected to dance. But you can't now be a dancer and then your content, you can't call yourself a dancer and then your content has absolutely nothing to do with dance or anything remotely related to dance. So you have to have a coherent message. Cool? I hope that makes sense. Now we're going to go into steps to creating a powerful brand. So the first 5 steps that I'm going to get into, this is from salary.com. It says how to brand yourself in 14 short steps. They lied. because there's nothing short about this. This is going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of energy. Well, effort is energy. You get what I'm saying? Synonyms. Okay, so step 1, determine your unique value proposition. Step 2, find out how others see you. Step 3, identify your goals. And step 4, identify your target audience. So I'm just going to condense those 4, the explanation for those 4 into just one. So you have to identify your strengths first. Like, what am I good at? Like, that my other peers might be like, okay, if I stop doing this, they feel like there's a loss, like there's a void. If, let's say, I leave the dance industry, right? What would people feel has been taken from them? And that also requires you to ask people like, hey guys, you know, what is it that I'm, you know, good at? What do you think I'm good at? You know, ask like your students, your following, your friends, your family, all these different things. What is it that I'm good at? Like, one thing, for an example, last year, I wasn't teaching a lot of classes in New York, and a lot of people were like, yo, come on, you got to teach classes. Like, yo, you just left us hanging for a while. So it's like, if I step out, that's something, that's one strength of mine, that my classes give a different experience. You know, other teachers also have different experiences, but it's like my experience is one that's also treasured and wanted, right? So that's an example. What are your strengths? What do people want from you, or like come to you to get? You feel what I'm saying? Something that only you can do in your way, right? So that's a way you can also brand yourself. And then it says to find out what your goals are, and also your target audience. So for me, my goals, I feel like you always have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? And I always talk about this on my stories. Like, there are times where I'm like, yo, I took a break from teaching classes because I need to figure out why I'm teaching. I need to figure out why I'm actually doing this. I don't want to just, okay, put video out, promote class, do class, make money, and then go back into it. Why am I doing this? Why am I getting up every day? Because I'm happily getting up every day to do this, but why is it? So you have to take time to self-reflect and figure out what your goals are. For me, my goals is this. All these years that I've spent learning whatever it is, and all the other years in the future that I'm going to spend learning, I want to be able to share that information with people so that we can create more long-lasting careers for multiple dancers, so there are multiple people at the table and the industry can last long. And it's not just a trend that the industry will just fall apart when America is no longer no longer into it, or no longer amazed by it. You know what I'm saying? Our industry shouldn't just be based off of what the Western world deems as popular. You feel what I'm saying? Dance hall is still dance hall, regardless of if it's at the pinnacle of like when Sean Paul first blew on the scene. You feel what I'm saying? So we want multiple Sean Pauls when the wave, or when the eyes, or the, you know, the honeymoon phase, or the rose-colored glasses come off. You feel what I'm saying? So that is my goal, to create more long-lasting careers by sharing information and, you know, obviously providing opportunities. So like, with connections I make, when artists are like, hey, I need a dancer, I'm going to be performing in Ghana, or I'm going to be performing in the UK, I need a dancer, I can use my connections and give other talented, amazing dancers, you know, opportunities to showcase and kill it and make some shmoney. So that's my goal. Now, also, you have to know your target audience, right? So your content, you want to get your content, your dance videos, your pictures, whatever, you want to get your content in front of your target audience. Your first target audience obviously should be dancers, because in order to create, you need to be able to be known within the dance community in order to collaborate with other dancers and, you know, grow your following, grow your expertise, grow your knowledge, etc. But you also want to get your content in front of the industry that you're in. So in front of the producers that work in your industry, in front of the promoters that work in your industry, in front of the event organizers, in front of the record label heads, the artists, etc. You want to get your content in front of, you know, the industry, the people within the industry, the key players within the industry that you're in. I'm not going to be trying to push my videos to people in India doing would it be Bollywood? Doing Indian dances, right? Because that's not the field that I'm in. Now, if let's say I'm, doing what I'm doing, putting my content in front of in front of the African key players within the industry, and someone in India, and so let's say an artist in India now comes and says, hey, I like what you're doing, I want to hire you because I want a different like flair, or like I love your artistic eye. That's something completely different. So knowing your target audience is extremely important, and making a conscious effort to to put your content in front of them is important. For example, like a lot of people ask me like, oh, Izzy used to do hip hop, and a lot of people who knew me back in the day be like, oh, why don't you do like why don't you do videos to to American music anymore? Like, why don't you dance to hip hop music? Or why aren't you going to auditions in like the commercial market over here in the US? For me, I feel like overextending myself, it's going to dilute my brand and bring my brand down. For me, Africa, the continent of Africa is big enough. There's so many different countries that you can play in. So I'm choosing to focus my brand on just African music or the African industry. And then anything else that comes outside of that is cool, but I'm not, because if I'm now going to, this commercial market, and I'm trying to put my content over here, and I'm fighting and focusing on this, and then I'm focusing on this, I'm going to stretch myself thin. So I focused on the African market because this is my goal. In order to create more opportunities and long-lasting careers for people, I need to focus on this, learn everything I can about this, work within this, and then I can further help my goal become a possibility. I hope that makes sense. Cool. So now the next four tips and steps. Oh, sorry guys, my phone keeps locking because my jaw keep locking. Reorganize your priorities, pay attention to the details, update your resume, and become a social networker. I'm going to start with become a social networker. Obviously, in order for all of this to work, especially as a dancer, you have to get social media. So that one, I'm not even going to explain. Get your social media, build your following. That could be another video on how to build your following. But like, honestly, I don't even think that should be a video. To build your following, you just need to continue to create content. And you just need to be able to continue to get your content in front of different eyes. So getting other pages to repost it. In order to do that, study the type of content that these different pages are posting, and then find a healthy balance between creating that look but also staying true to yourself. And then those pages will start to like, obviously rock with your stuff. Now, when it says reorganize your priorities, it says you're probably used to putting yourself behind your company, coworkers, and clients. You still want to be loyal to these groups, but be loyal to yourself first. I think reorganize your priorities, pay attention to details, and update your resume are 3 things I'm going to put into one, right? 3 steps I'm going to put into one. Now, when you reach a certain place, right? Whether you like it or not, I know you don't want to offend your friends. You don't want to offend your, you don't want to offend your family, peers, or whatever, coworkers. You don't want to look like you're selfish or snobbish. But when you reach a certain level, there's just certain things that you can no longer do. Yes. So there are just certain things you can no longer do. Jay-Z is at the level that he's at. You think there are not thousands and hundreds and thousands of people that are reaching out to him that he knows personally that like, yo, I do music, and he's just not gonna hop on any track. So when it comes to paying attention to the details, it says everything you do ultimately contributes to your personal brand. Once your brand has been defined, make sure that the little things, the way you dress, your body language, how you behave with coworkers, the emails you write are consistent with your brand. Even with this, I would say even down to the type of videographers you use, because your content has to be A1. The type of people you collaborate, you can't just be dancing with anybody. The type of artists you even work with, and that also plays into updating your resume. When you reach a certain level, you need to start working with certain caliber of people, right? Because that also even pulls your brand up. Then it's like, okay, because as dancers for a very long time, like I was doing like tours of like just teaching classes and going around. But when I would go to interviews, they would ask me like, oh yes, you're a very popular dancer, but like which artist have you worked for? And I'm just like, At that time, I hadn't really worked with a lot of artists, but I was still making a name for myself. But at the end of the day, people want to connect you with artists who, whether we like it or not, are the top players of this whole industry game, which, you know, is debatable. It's not debatable. I mean, it is, but it's like, you know, everyone else is still as important in order for all of this to work. So it's like when you reach a certain level, there are just certain people you just can't work with. Now, not saying you can't work with an upcoming artist when you reach a certain level, but it's like when you're working with an upcoming artist now, or like an artist that's like not even known, hasn't started, you see some type, it will be a different thing when it's like, okay, I see something in this person, I want to create in this person, I want to create with this person. There's a certain like creative maturity that will allow you to see that, okay, this person will add to my value as well as me adding to theirs also. I hope that makes sense. So it's not a thing where it's like, oh, you're using people or anything. It's not that. It's like, for example, like a Tanisha Scott, or like even Boom Cat, you know, Lorian Gibson, right? The artists that she was working with, like she was working with like popular artists, but like there were artists that were up and coming that she also saw, you know, what's it called? She saw like vision, like she saw like a potential in them, and they end up even blowing. That also adds to her resume. Even when she was helping them when they were upcoming, it was adding to their resume because it also still gives you enough room to experiment, you know, give you room in order to like teach them like, okay, this is how, like if you want to actually perform, like they're more open, you know what I'm saying? So you're building with somebody. Cool. But like I said, you have to pay attention to these different details. Well, not only I said, the website said it too. Pay attention to your resume. Update your resume, pay attention to the details, reorganize your priorities. And the last one, well, step 9 is build your own, step 8 is become a social networker. So people, just because you have a social media and your numbers are big, a lot of people forget that they actually have to network in person, right? A social network, yes, is, actually, no, that's actually telling you to, sorry, that was the first one I touched on. Social media is important. Keeping up to date with your social media is cool, but also networking in person is another step that they're going to touch on, but networking in person is also just as important as getting an online presence. Getting an in-person connection with people, talking to them, because like there's some opportunities where it's like, maybe people didn't know about you, but then you go to a day party or you go to a networking event and you tell them like, yo, you know, I'm a choreographer, and they'll be like, oh, really? Like, what do you do? Like, send over your press kit, or like have your manager send over your press kit, or like you show them like videos, which I really don't like doing. My manager shows them videos and stuff like that, and then they'll be like, oh my God, wow, I didn't even know this existed. Let's talk business. You know what I'm saying? So, and it can even be sometimes where it's like, oh yeah, I know a lot of dancers, but I like your energy because, you know, we've met in person, we had a conversation. I like your energy. I actually have a project I think will be perfect. So networking in person as well as online is just as important. So step 9 is build your own website. Step 10 is blog. Step 11 is get published. 12, go offline. 13, tend to your marketing network. And step 14, review your brand. So basically with the blogging, get published, and go offline. I think with the offline thing, I explained that with networking in person. With the get published and blog, as dancers, right? I think obviously you're not going to publish a book. I mean, you can. But it's like when it means get published, I feel like, let me just read what it says. It says, write a book, contribute to industry publications, or simply update the content on your website. Being published is an ideal way to promote yourself as an expert in your field. I think for dancers, the best way to get published and contribute to the industry is just to create dope projects and hopefully collaborate with bigger artists so you can create dope projects. Because what you have to contribute to the industry is, in addition to insight and other skills that you have, is your content, your choreography. So just continue to create dope shit to the point where it's just like, yo, when you're dropping videos, is the equivalent to an artist dropping a music video. That's what I consider being published as. Like, for example, Paris Goebel, when she drops Yummy, or she dropped like the project with Justin Bieber, or if she's like even doing the halftime show where she's choreographing for Jennifer Lopez, it's like an announcement that Vanity Fair is like talking about it. Or, I mean, Variety is writing articles on it, or like Billboard is writing articles on it. This is her contribution to the industry. Our contribution to the industry is choreography, content, etc., etc. So make everything you do feel like a world premiere or music video drop. Like, it needs to, that is your contribution to the industry. Just create dope shit, right? That alters people's perception about the dance industry in a positive way, right? So that's what get published is. Go offline, meaning network in person. 13, tend to your marketing network. It says, be sure to keep coworkers, colleagues, clients, and friends updated about what you're doing. Word of mouth is a powerful marketing tool, and what the people in your network say about you will ultimately have an effect on your brand. So how I like to do this is, like, for example, if let's say on my first media tour, I spoke to, like, shout out the Africanist podcast or SITIM podcasts, right? That was 2 years ago, or that was a year ago. I would like to come back and make rounds again so I can make those people who became fans of me or listeners, update them on what it is I have done. You know, just because you work with someone once don't mean you can't work with them again. So it's like constantly updating your network. If it's like, for example, I actually don't have any other example, but I feel like, you know, going back to people, making people aware of like new things you've done, like go watch my Africanist podcast. You know, this is my second time appearing there. So like, I'm also letting their listeners, updating them on what I've done since the last interview that I did. So I hope that makes sense. So like keeping them updated, like, no, look, it's not just a one-time thing. I'm not just a one-time one-hit wonder. Like, I've done things since then. This is how far I've come. It's just like, okay, oh, no, okay, Izzy's done this, that, and the third. Now, the last one is review your brand frequently. Branding isn't something that you just do one time and you're done. It's a continuous process. You're going to have to continue to evolve. Look at Beyonce. The Beyonce brand of today is different from the brand of 5-10 years ago, right? The Rihanna brand of today is different from the brand from 5-10 years ago. So the higher you get, you have to continue to brand. So for example, if let's say I started off with cell phone videos when I first started, or low quality videos when I first started, and that was okay for me, it took me to a next level. When I go to the next level, I need to update my content. When I go to the next level, I need to update my content. Now it's like I have to update my content. And this is gonna require a lot of investment in yourself. So it's like you have to treat yourself like a business. Apple will not just come out with any type of commercial that looks like it was shot with $5 camera, camera, because they are a big brand. Now, another reason, and the last reason why you should brand yourself, right? When you start to brand yourself and you've created this brand that people trust, that people love, that people, you know, follow, are interested in getting to know more about, you create like kind of a cult following, even though I hate saying that, a cult following. Everything else that extends out of you that you create, anything that's now an extension of your brand, has your stamp of approval. Therefore, people will fuck with it. You feel what I'm saying? So for example, if people want to work with me, right, they know they have to work through TRÝBE. So people will reach out to me like, yo, Izzy, I want your choreography. Then I have the leverage to say, I want to hire the dancers I want to work with, right? So you have to hire TRÝBE. So based off of my brand and my clout, I can now give opportunities to the dancers that I work with. So TRYBE is now respected in that client's eyes because it's an extension of my brand. For example, use the example of Oprah, right? Oprah has made her legacy, like, by being, I think she was like a TV personality, like a TV host or something, and she's done a lot within the culture. So anything that is an extension of her own network, her own magazine, Gayle King or whatever, anything that's an extension of her gets her stamp of approval. Therefore, people rock with it because it's like, oh, if Oprah is standing behind this and I respect Oprah and I love Oprah, then I rocks with it. Then I know it has to be A1 because Oprah has built that brand to the level where you know that everything that comes out of that brand is A1. Now that's also a lot of power too. So you have to be very responsible with the things you do with that, but that's a story for another day. Yes. So guys, I hope this was very helpful to you guys. I'm gonna link both of the websites in the description bar below. If you have any questions, any other if you have any questions, any corrections, any suggestions that you have, please leave that in the comment section. If this was helpful for you, please leave that in the comment section. Please share this video, like it, subscribe, turn on your notifications. And also guys, I do have my brand Third World Tribe. We do sell like crew necks and t-shirts, you know, just to for hustlers. Like, obviously I come from a third world nation, Nigeria. That's where my parents were born. That's where I was raised. That's the flag that I'm proudly waving. So third world is just a movement for people who have literally changed that, you know, negative connotation that is put with the word third world nations, and created careers and things out of nothing. You know what I'm saying? And if you are on the way to doing that, you're still part of the tribe. Or if you are already there, you're still a part of the tribe. So if you guys want to support, that link is going to be down below. Again, like I said, share. Next week, Wednesday, I'm going to come back with another video touching on another topic. So definitely, I appreciate you guys. Let's share this video. Let's get to connecting. Let's get to, ooh.